Driving Technology on U.S. Farm Report is brought to you by John Deere. No matter where your operation is with technology, John Deere can help you take the next step. Keep your farm moving forward with John Deere Tech to fit your equipment and your operation.
Doing more with less is something we talk about a lot in agriculture as farmers find new ways to farm even smarter and become even more efficient. Well, a farmer who just may be the poster child for that is Luke Jager, a farmer in Kansas who's constantly aiming to innovate, as we show you this weekend in Driving Technology. Farming in southwest Kansas isn't for the faint of heart. Producing a crop in this arid climate can be a challenge, but this farmer is thankful for some recent rain.
The wettest November on record for us.
For an area that typically receives less than 20 inches of rain each year, Luke Jager says some of his farms have seen 6 inches of rain during the month of November alone.
Which is crazy this time of year.
It's much needed moisture the winter wheat crop is soaking up, and it's also planting ideas for different crop plants next spring.
I was just talking with our local dealer here about how on our farm, for the first time ever, we will probably plant more dryland corn than we will grain sorghum because of the subsoil moisture we have in the grounds.
Jager and his brother farm 20,000 acres across southwest Kansas, growing a mix of corn, sorghum, soybeans, and wheat, most of which is dryland.
Every year my brother and I, Matthew, were partners, and we kind of like to take a 30,000-foot approach and poke holes in our operation. And where are we spending too much money? Where can we save?
A never-ending journey to solve problems on their own farm, they started EGE Products to manufacture specialty ag chemicals and fertilizers.
I like to say our farm is a 20,000-acre research farm. In our office, we have a full-scale laboratory with formulation chemists, PhD chemists, chemical engineers. So we see problems on the farm and we bring them back to our formulations team, and we try to work on solutions.
With the farm to then put those products to the test, Jager says they're constantly innovating.
I think if you're not innovating, you're dying. If you're not, a lot of people bristle at adopting newer technologies, and we just dive right into it and go.
Diving right into the latest technology, one of the latest products they decided to try wasn't something they produced on their own. Instead, it was added to this.
It's like that technology was built for our farm.
John Deere's See and Spray.
We didn't approach See and Spray technology to specifically reduce costs. A lot of it for us was reducing the toxicity of some of the chemicals that we were using on the farm.
Jager says they run their sprayer 11 months out of the year here, and he's the one who's typically in the driver's seat.
I put about 600 hours a year in the seat of one of our sprayers, and I don't like paraquat. And what See and Spray has allowed us to do, chemistries that perform the same, but they were a little too expensive, it has allowed us to integrate that chemistry more into our operation.
Instead of looking at technology as a way to save on cost, Jager says it's a way to do a more effective job.
And I've found that we're going out earlier more often than we normally would. A lot of times you want to wait. If you're going to blanket spray, you want to wait till, there's enough out there to justify the application. And for us, we don't have to wait because we know maybe we're only going to spray 5% of the field.
In this area of Kansas, the Jagers had to transition to nearly 100% no-till, a necessity to control wind erosion.
But a lot of farmers have had to abandon no-till because it's just too expensive. And with resistant weeds, it became harder and harder to control those resistant weeds. But with this technology, I think we're going to see more farmers coming back into no-till because they can cost effectively control those weeds.
In 2011, it was kochia that Roundup would no longer control.
And now we've got a pretty good handle on kochia, but it's pigweeds that are my biggest nemesis right now.
Pigweed and resistant grasses like switchgrass, those have become Jager's yearly battle.
What this See and Spray technology allows us to do is run a more concentrated spray mixture, a higher rate of glyphosate or clethodim, but we're only spraying that particular weed, not the whole field. So we can run a higher rate of that chemical, get way better control, and our costs are still very minimal because we're only spraying that target weed that's out there.
Farming smarter while always trying to innovate. The Jagers say it's technology like this that seem to have a perfect fit here in Southwest Kansas.
Like I said, this technology, it's like it was built for our farm.
By the way, we did ask Jager about harvest this fall. They had some moisture last year, not as much as they've recently received, but the issue this past year for their crop was hail. He told us they lost half of their corn and all of their soybeans to hail last year. Well, when we come back, it's a fast food fan favorite, and if you love the McRib, well, you have one land grant university to thank for that. We'll tell you why next.